Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Silver Screen Shenanigans podcast, where we sit down, watch a movie, and give our own silly little takes about it. My name is Devin, and the question of today is, what is your favorite sport to play? Bars.
Bars.
But
That was fire, bro. That was fire.
my favorite sport is probably basketball. I can't really tell you why, but it's simple.
My name's Jacob. I don't know. This is kind of a hard question for me.
We'll pick it.
Because what? No, I play a lot of sports, but I think I like playing sand volleyball, honestly. Just like relaxing. You don't got to think about much besides hit a ball. So,
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know. Okay.
I'm Riley, and my favorite sport to play is wrestling, just because it's a really good way to get anger out.
Yeah.
Riley likes rolling around with other guys.
That's
No, just kidding.
no, that's not right.
No, I'm Emma, and I would have to say my favorite is football. Because,
Oh yeah.
Yep. I played and I reffed, and I love the game.
Okay.
Fair enough.
I could say something,
So
but I'm not going to.
Say
'cause
it.
I'm not mean.
the sport,
So,
the sport that we're talking about today happens to be football. It's a movie kind of surrounding it. It's called The Blind Side. It stars Sandra Bullock, who plays, I guess, kind of the mom. I can't remember her name, but she plays like kind of the mom in the movie. It stars, I think his name Quentin Aaron, who plays Michael in the movie, and also Tim McGraw is in the movie. It's from 2009, and it's a kind of a sports drama, and it immediately kind of starts out in this. Where does it start out? He's like
It's him walking.
it's
home.
him walking,
him walking home.
and it has her talking over it.
Okay, yeah.
Actually, it's the whole like football film.
Oh,
explaining why.
actually,
With
it's
Lawrence Taylor and Joe Theismann, yeah.
that's how it starts.
And she's giving us info about the blind side in football, where it's like it's kind of the space where the quarterback can't really pay attention to, so he's kind of vulnerable, and there's a defender that has to protect him there, and that position or that area is called the blind side, and it's the position that that Michael will later play.
So the first time that we see him, he's in the room being interrogated.
Interrogated?
Interrogated.
Interrogated.
Yeah, that's the word. But so he's in that room being interrogated, and they're like, "So how did you come to like start playing football?" And it cuts back to the very beginning.
Right. And we meet him first, and we get kind of a sense that the place where he lives isn't the greatest. And also we learn pretty quick that he doesn't have a lot of places to go because
He's very poor.
yeah. And the family that eventually takes him in, they see him at is it the volleyball game, I think?
Yeah, the dad saw him at the volleyball game picking up popcorn to eat for dinner.
And it's like, oh, man. This movie makes me, there's some parts that this comes out of nowhere and it makes you just super sad.
Yeah,
Well,
definitely.
so let's get him into the school. So
Yeah.
to begin with, there's this father who is a father of somebody who's in the neighborhood that he lives in.
Mm.
And he's trying to get his son into this private Catholic school, but then Michael as well, because he's just looking out for the kid, Michael's a real big guy, so he's like, there's no doubt in my mind that they would want him for football,
It's true.
and he's good at a lot of sports.
The coach is like, yeah, we want him.
He was draining threes in the time that they were showing his film.
Mm-hmm.
He was draining threes.
Yeah.
So they wanted him, but his grades weren't great.
Right.
He had a 0.02 GPA.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? I think that's right.
Something like that.
That's around there.
That's pretty bad.
There are some zeros.
Yeah. So what the teachers were doing were they were just passing him along to the next school, which
They unfortunately saw him as
is
somebody
not-
else's problem.
is not fair to him.
Yeah.
Nobody really
Oh,
cared about him.
yeah. And then we meet the family.
Yes.
Yeah.
He then gets into the school,
Right.
and we get introduced to the mother
Yeah.
of the family as she's walking down the hallway yelling at the football coach, right? Or she was yelling at somebody.
I think it was a client or something like to do with her real estate, right? She does real estate or something like that.
Yeah.
And she was like, something was happening within the house, and they're talking about MG Cribs or whatever it was coming in, and talking about how they're only going to.
MTV Cribs?
I don't know what the thing's called. Cribs, bro. I don't know.
Pimp my crib.
But talking about how like the only thing they're going to be like actually looking at when they first come in is going to be the theater room or whatever.
Yeah.
And so she's saying, do it my way, do it this way. And like, she's going to get what she wants and then snaps the phone. But it's something about whatever her job is. I don't know.
And then like this family's going to their daughter's volleyball game, and we meet like the rest of the family. They're like the dad, and then the kid. I can only remember like some characters' names, but SJ, this young kid, dude, this kid's a savage. He followed the girls into their locker room after the volleyball game, and the mom goes, "Don't follow them in there again." He's like, he's tried it before. He's done it before.
He's like, SJ, not in the girls' locker room again. SJ carries part of the show.
Oh yeah, he's like most of the. Yeah, I'd say he's like 80% of the comedy.
Oh, for sure.
Definitely. But Michael's life at the moment is not too great. Poor, doesn't really have a place to go, and he meets a family who kind of has like all the opposites of those. And I'm not sure when we find this out exactly, though, but is it during that interview, or I can't remember when it is, but they tell Michael that his dad died?
No, that's later. Just a little bit past this is like after he stays with him and whatnot.
One night, okay.
Yeah. It's during like right at the end of school. Like the principal guy comes up.
Oh, right.
They call him into the office. And
because it took him so long because they didn't have any identification.
Any of his papers on him.
Yeah.
Well, Michael doesn't have any papers.
Right.
Like all of his medical records and stuff are just non-existent.
Because his mom doesn't have them.
Too poor to.
And also she doesn't take too good of herself.
They said she has 12 kids.
Yeah.
That's insane.
It's a lot of kids.
A lot of kids and a lot of drugs.
Do you still draw in money from the state, even though the kids might not be with you anymore?
No.
I think you have to claim them, right?
Yeah, you'd have to claim them.
Mm-hmm. And then they'd have to investigate if you can take care of them.
If you are, because that's why they came and took all of them.
Mm-hmm.
They investigated.
She couldn't take care of them.
Yeah.
And that's something we kind of see throughout the movie is whenever Michael's frustrated, scared, or whatnot, he closes his eyes and he thinks back to that moment of like him getting ripped away from his mom, which is
it's real, but very sad.
Very real, very sad. And he first struggles at school because he has nobody to guide him, nobody to teach him. And as we later find out, it's not like he's dumb. He's smart. He has lots of knowledge. I just think at this point he doesn't have anybody to help him.
Yeah, to help him to understand the knowledge that he has already.
Right. We saw that originally with the teachers kind of just talking bad about him in the teacher lounge.
Yeah, these teachers are awful in the beginning because they kind of like, they critique him very harshly, and like they don't even think he's like, he just shows up and he doesn't even listen. I'm like, how do you know? Have you ever asked him? No.
Never asked him a single question. They just assume that he doesn't want to answer.
Well, and he's not doing very well in any of their assignments either, so they can tell that he's not really listening.
Well, again, like they said, it's not that he can't listen. He just doesn't understand it's not that he doesn't understand the material or he's not listening. It's that he doesn't know how to express it, I guess.
They say something like he's never been in a classroom.
Yeah,
before.
His reading is very low.
Mm-hmm.
But when they gave them the tests verbally, he did very well.
Right.
He did better.
He did
mediocre. Yeah. He didn't do awful.
He did, and then they get those tests of like he's scored super low in a bunch of things, except for he scored a 98 in protective instincts, which that tracks later in the movie.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I definitely see that.
All right.
So Michael doesn't have he doesn't have a dad. He really doesn't have a mom. He doesn't have a place to go, and that's a situation that, thankfully I've never ran into, and it's something I hope I never run into. But that it's alien to me. But I can't even imagine what that's like to not have a mom or a dad, really,
Have
and
nobody to go back to.
Yeah, and nowhere to go.
Especially, your life has been already rough, obviously, being ripped away.
Mm-hmm.
2, you think your life's starting to get a little better, you get a new school, and I think like the second day, you get told your dad may have jumped off a bridge.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like all that combined is, I don't know how he's actually stable.
And he's only 17.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's only
Yeah,
17.
he's in high school.
Do we actually know how old he was? Because they talked about it in
he's
his
17 because Leah or whatever her name is.
Leanne.
Is it Leanne?
Yeah.
Okay. The mom was like, he's 18. What's the point of adopting him? Or he's he's a year from 18. He's going to be 18 in a year. What's the point of adopting him now?
That makes more sense.
Yeah.
Forgot about that.
And then all of her ladies are like, we're like, why not? Just do it. Just do it.
They're like, you're doing this for your reasons, right? You're
Yeah,
not-
yeah.
And then I guess the next part of the movie is kind of him like adjusting to living with them. Like there's the funny scene where it's for Thanksgiving and like they're getting all the food and everything. And he goes into the dining room by himself because I guess that's where that's where he thinks he's supposed to eat.
Yeah, that's,
and
that's where normal people eat.
And where the rest of the family eats by the TV, that looks more like where my family does. They sit in front of the TV and watch football while they eat, and then she turns off the TV. And they're like, "What? But it's Thanksgiving." And then they all eat. So there's some good parts in there, and I like how they, because I think it could have been boring, like the part in the movie where he adjusts to the new family, but they added some humor in it, which was fun. And then the part where she gives him the room.
Yeah.
She
like starts explaining what all these things are. She's like, well, here's your bed. Here's this. I tried to get JR. No, SJ. Thank you. Goodness. SJ said that football players, they sleep on futons because they can't find beds big enough, but I did not want that atrocious metal frame in my house. So she's like, there's a futon there. Here's this is this. And he goes, wow, I've never had that before. And then she goes, what, a room to yourself? And he goes, no, a bed.
Yeah, and it's like, oh.
And another thing that she does a lot is when something that is said, mostly by Michael, but she kind of runs away. Like she goes like after that comment, she ran to her room.
She really shuts down.
Yeah.
Whenever something sad happens.
Yeah, she pretty much just runs away every time that he says something because the emotions are just so high, I feel like, and it's really hard for her.
And then another part of like adjusting with the family is the Christmas photos.
Yes.
And they like, yeah, Michael, come on in. Yeah, take a picture with us. And she's like, what? It's not like it's going in the Christmas card.
It was the
Christmas card. And then it goes to the Christmas card, and they get a call from a family. And their uncle. And he's like, well, I'm about 5 beers deep. Was that a color boy? I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Did you guys know that there's a big black boy in the back here?
Yeah.
Right in front of it. Like the whole family's there when the answering machine goes. It's so good. And then they talk about the book Ferdinand, which, it's basically this story.
I agree. I've never read that book.
Ferdinand is basically the story of Ferdinand is just like it's a big strong bull, but learns to be gentle, like kind of that deal, and that's kind of in a way like Michael, like it's a very big strong guy, but he's often gentle on the inside. He doesn't like to break things or hurt people.
Another thing about that book is he's stung by a bull. A bumblebee. And he gets all crazy because it hurt, right? He's jumping around.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy that's there to buy a bull for bullfighting sees him bucking over there. And so he picks him, the softest guy, and puts him in a scenario where he has to be big and strong and be mean, which is kind of like them placing him in the football, right? He's this big marshmallow that's been placed in the football,
Right.
and he doesn't know what to do.
Right. So you kind of, I guess this is where he sort of starts to get his grades up a little bit,
Yeah.
at least to a point where he can play football.
Yes, because they start doing actual oral tests for him because they're starting to care about this kid.
Yeah.
So yeah, they do oral tests for him, and he starts to get his grades up to C's from D's. They're now up to C's, or from F's because he didn't even fill out the first day of school.
Yeah.
They have a pop quiz or whatever, and he fills out his name and then he draws a boat on the back.
Just drew a boat.
So he gets to play football now, which is, yay.
Awesome. Woohoo.
But he doesn't really understand how.
Yeah.
Like the plays, he kind of is just he gets distracted by balloons.
Yeah, he grabs a guy and then just looks up the balloons, and then the entire team
Yeah,
looks
the
up.
entire team's like, "Oh, hey, balloons!" The coach is in the background. Stop looking at the balloons.
Yeah, he doesn't really. He kind of knows his job, but he doesn't understand
What he's
how important it is.
How to execute it.
Right.
Which is when Leanne comes.
Yeah.
along.
Well, we missed a very important part before this.
What's that?
Didn't he already he got adopted by the family by then, right?
No.
No.
What?
It's
No.
like that's
That was
towards when he
later.
wanted to get like his driver's license.
driver's
Uh-huh.
license. Yeah.
Right. I thought he
Yes.
had his bandages on his arm at this point.
No.
Okay.
Ooh, wait a minute. I think you're right because in that scene,
I'm
she's
pretty
like,
sure I am right.
'cause
She
when
goes,
Leanne-
"This is LJ."
Oh, you are right.
J,
yeah.
J,
No, I'm wrong.
SJ. I can't.
SJ.
Because so
Yeah,
first,
over the
She's like when
hedge,
you
RJ.
protected
right?
him.
Yeah. No, you're right. So he first
So
off
he gets adopted by the
backtrack.
family.
He gets adopted by the family, and there's a cute little line where he's like, "I already thought I was part of the family."
Well, she goes to his actual mother
right.
and starts talking to her, and his mom, his
And there's like
real mom
it's not a
breaks down crying because she wasn't able to help him, even though he would break out of every single foster home they put him in just to come look after his
They
mom.
called him a runner.
Yeah.
Because he would, no matter how or where they'd put him, he would go back to his mom, which I'm like, oh my God, it's so sad.
Well, that's where his instincts, that's
Yeah.
his caring instincts.
It's
They
also
go to the
all that he
place.
has.
They go to the mother's, and it's not a great apartment. It's
It's really not great.
it's good.
Very poorly taken care of.
Yeah. It looked like I thought there were needles on the table.
There was definitely drugs on the table.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
100%.
And all right, so he gets adopted, and the reason that he got adopted was because he goes to Leanne and he goes, "I want to get a driver's license," and she
Yeah.
goes, "Why would you want that?" And he goes, "I want something with my name on it."
Yeah, he doesn't have anything.
Something to carry with
Doesn't
my name
have
on it.
anything that tells him that that's who he is.
And then old Tim McGraw buys him one of the coolest trucks I've ever seen.
It's such a nice car.
And then I can't. Did they go? Him and Michael
Him
and SJ go to pick up the new Madden game?
Yes.
Yeah. And
Every time there was 2 times in this movie because I've seen it before. There was 2 times in this movie where both of them go to do something. I'm like, oh, this is it.
is it?
And then it wasn't that time, and I was like, oh, wait, what?
Yeah, that's like the part of the movie that you
cringe.
you just don't want to see. Or
Um,
know it's
So the 2 of them are in the car singing a song.
Not
Michael
looking. Not
is
looking,
not
at, the
looking
road.
at the road. He's just not paying attention. Does he run a red stop sign?
I think it goes through like a 4-way intersection.
yeah.
And then hits
a big
a
lumber truck pulls out
yeah.
of a driveway,
demolish,
and Michael
smash the front of the car.
hits the back of it, and crushes the front.
Then Leanne shows up and is obviously distraught. Michael tells her, SJ, go see
check,
SJ.
go see SJ.
SJ's fine, dude.
Yeah, he goes, "Do you think this blood will come out of my t-shirt?"
He's over there getting the lady paramedics. He's chilling.
Yeah. Talking up a
And
storm.
Leanne goes over to Michael, and he just keeps going, "I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry."
Which understandably, he's been given all these things, and
Yeah.
then this is what happens. And she's like, "You didn't do this on purpose.
She's like,
Everybody does it."
Put your arms down. You're okay. It's all right. Everybody, SJ is perfectly fine. And he puts his arms down, and you see the entire front of his arm is burnt. airbag went off, and SJ should have been dead
Oh yeah.
because the airbag should have destroyed his face.
One, SJ shouldn't have been in the front seat.
Absolutely, he's like 12. How old is he? He's
Not
like
even. He's probably like 10.
So
I think he is 10.
airbag would have snapped his neck.
yes. Even the paramedics was like, the airbag should have hit him in the face. It's like it got redirected or something.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Michael redirected it. He goes, I stopped it.
Yeah, he put his arms right out in front of it, stopped it from hitting SJ.
Let's
That
see.
hard, at least.
I think I wrote it down. How is it? 200 miles. Those things come out in 200 miles per hour.
That is
That is
so
crazy.
fast.
It's so fast. So that means as soon as he saw it, Michael had to have instantly, like, protective instincts,
Right.
immediately put his hand out.
Have any of you guys ever been in a car accident? No.
Not a bad one.
I've seen plenty, but I've never
hit
been
from
in
behind
one.
a couple times.
Did the airbags go off?
For me, no, because I was at a dead stop and they didn't hit me very hard. These guys didn't even stop at the stoplight. Dude, I was so upset. And then everybody I knew drove past me.
Was it?
Man,
I was going to school.
That's always what happens. You guys get pulled over.
I've been in one, and let me tell you, those airbags are scary. So,
They fill up in a quarter of a second.
yes, and then they're meant to explode, like pop a hole in them, and then you're instantly breathing all that stuff that was inside of that airbag.
ooh.
Two, because they come out so fast, it's almost not as good as hitting the steering wheel, but it is, right? It still freaking hurts.
Oh yeah.
When I got in my car wreck, luckily I had a hat on, like usual. It redirected my head from hitting the airbag itself.
Oh.
Goodness.
See, it's crazy to think that airbags are safer than no airbag, but it's crazy. But it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
But-
feel like it's because like it distributes like the impact, right? Instead of hitting this one solid metal bar.
Yeah.
I suppose.
There's got to be a way, though. There's
Instead
got
you
to
hit a
be a
metal
different
plate.
way.
And also, you don't fly out the window if you're not buckled.
You
Well, you should always buckle up.
Yeah.
Click it or ticket. It's the law.
Come on, kids, do better. And then, so then we get to the first couple practices when he starts to play.
Yes.
And yeah, he doesn't quite get the grasp until Leanne comes in, straightens him out, like you said. He's like, just remember when you thought you were going to protect me and thought when you did protect SJ, just do that with the
She
quarterback.
pulls out a guy and she goes, "This Oompa Loompa is SJ."
Yeah.
This poor man.
It was just a short high school
poor
player,
man.
man. Chill out.
And then she walks away, and like the entire team's like looking at her
Looking
walk
at
away. All there's a couple coaches that are looking too, and then the head coach is like,
She walks
"Are we
past
get,
him.
are we
and
gonna run
goes-
some plays?"
She walks past him and goes, "You can thank me later."
Yeah. And then
And then he just annihilates
switch
people.
flips, and it's over, man. He gets it.
Oh, yeah. He's blocking people left and right.
And then the head coach walks over to Leanne and sits down. He's like, "What do you say to him?" And she goes,
Know your players.
"Know your players. Get to know them." I said, "You can thank me later, Bob."
He has
later.
he's in the 90. He has 98%
Protective instinct.
protective instincts. So she's like, know your players.
Relate, yeah. And he related, yeah. It's a pretty cool, like how he related it to the family. He just related it to the game, and now it's over for the opposing team.
He would like block players with other players in his hand.
Yeah.
He would like throw people across the field.
Well, the first day of practice, he was carrying 4 of the body bags.
Yeah. And those
Like
those
body-
aren't,
yeah.
aren't light.
What do they call them?
Like a
It's a practice body bag.
I know, but the way that it said body bag, it just sounds so
I actually
creepy.
don't know what those things are called.
Well, they're
Just
they're hit bags,
Hitting
Yeah,
bags,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
tackle
yeah.
bags.
Yeah.
but they're the size of a body.
Yeah.
So he's carrying 4 of them when everybody else was barely carrying 1.
Super strong. And then we get to, is it the first game?
Yeah.
Yes.
Then he runs into, this is the only part of the movie that
Number 66.
It's number 66. It's the only part of the movie that I
chokes.
don't like. It's because it's so stereotypical. Like it's, rednecks in movies automatically equals the dumb bad guys. That's the only part I don't really enjoy just because of how stereotypical it is. But there's there's a team that he play. There's a player on the team that kind of he's not a good person.
No, he's really not.
Very, 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 very full of himself.
Oh yeah, super cocky, and he does it.
Super cocky.
And it's they can't say a particular word. They can't say the N word because it's like a PG movie, but he does call him like
Fat boy.
Yeah, fat boy. It says boy a lot, and it's like, oh, okay, I know.
Yeah.
Um,
And then, well, even that kid's dad up in the bleachers is yelling things at him too.
and it's like, oh, that's where that comes from.
Yeah.
Then.
But Michael, I mean, the start of the game, he chokes. He doesn't know what he's doing. 66
Kind of
just
throws.
completely.
I think, it kind of throws because, like we talked about, he's not prone to violence. He not too big of a fan of confrontation. So I think that threw him off a little bit that this guy's like getting in his face.
Yeah. Well, he chokes for an entire rally, so 4 downs, and then the other team scores.
Right. And then there's a
And
play
then it's their turn again.
Yeah.
Where Michael gets
He gets knocked to the ground, and then that 66 kicks him in the head, says nasty thing to him,
and the coach, Michael's coach goes, "What? You're not going to call that? What are you doing? Are you not going to call that?" And then he throws it down. He throws down the flag, and then he calls it on Michael.
Yeah, and then the coach is like,
Calls it on the coach.
Oh yeah, he calls on the coach, unsportsmanlike
conduct, and the coach is like, "He is my son. I'll protect him." And then Michael like bear hugs him.
He like holds him back.
I got your back, coach. Don't worry about it. And then I think that's kind of the moment that the switch flips again.
Yep.
Yeah.
Where Michael's like, I got to protect these guys.
Because he's like, this is my family.
Yeah.
This is.
So do you think it's because he didn't really consider the team a family yet?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
He runs into the huddle, and he goes,
This one.
do this move.
Gap.
Yeah.
They're like, throw a gap. It's like, we haven't been able to get one all game. Why would we do it now? And he just goes, do it.
And then when the play starts, Michael grabs this guy and he blocks him for
all the way
50,
down the field,
50 yards down the field, and then throws him over the barricade. And nothing illegal the whole time. He was blocking him the entire time.
He got a flag thrown, and they go, "What was that for?" And he goes, "Was it holding? No. Well, was it?
Did he play? Did he play after the whistle? I don't believe so.
He goes, "What was it? Excessive blocking."
Yeah.
No, it's great. And while that's happening,
SJ's
recording it. And he sends it to
he sends it to
all the coaches for college.
But the coach goes, "Where were you taking him?" And Mike goes, "To the bus." It was time for him to go home. Yeah. And then he taps out. 66, he's got to go on the bench.
He gets hurt, and then this other kid comes in number 40.
It's like a freshman. It looked like a
very
freshman.
skinny kid.
Did nothing in and then this is where you get Michael's not,
He's not mean.
He's not mean. He's like, okay, get up. He offers a hand, and he's like,
he didn't even continue the play. The minute he hit the ground, he's like, my bad.
My bad.
Everyone else was running downfield, and he picks up this guy.
So yeah, SJ sends this footage out to college recruiters and stuff like that. And you guys have people from LSU or Nick Saban, who was at LSU this point, which for anybody who knows sports, they know in college football who Nick Saban is. He's probably one of the best coaches of all time. And he's like, I want that guy.
You had Texas, right?
Tennessee.
I don't know sports.
You had
Ole Miss.
Well, not
Ole
yet.
Miss, no, because they still had a coach. They needed to get a coach.
They were looking for a coach before they'd give him a job.
Tennessee, Clemson, LSU,
Arkansas. Razorbacks.
Yeah. So all these guys came to one practice.
Big SEC teams.
Just to have them do the Oklahoma drill.
Yeah.
And
it don't last very long.
Michael flattens this guy.
Yeah.
And half of them leave instantly.
Yep. They're like, all right, thank you. We're good to go.
All right, we saw it. We're good.
They literally, he's like, yeah, it was a 4-hour drive up here. All right, thank you very much. Well, you'll be hearing from us, Michael.
I think it was actually a 9-hour drive.
All of that just to go there and then turn around and go back just to see it in real life.
Yep, we won.
And then he gets calls left and right.
Yeah, he got 22 calls.
Offers, yeah.
Plus mail.
Plus,
I think
The dad goes, he's like, do we even know if he's going to get a college sponsorship? And she hits
plays them.
and there's like 20 of them. And then the only problem is, though, if Michael gets a D1 scholarship, he has to have a 2.25?
2.5.
2.27.
2.5. It
All
is
right.
2.5.
A number.
Okay.
It's
He was
around
not
2.
close to
It is
point
the
something.
2.5. It is 2.5. Please believe me, it is 2.5.
All right. 3.7.
And he's currently at like 1 some.
yeah.
yeah.
He needed to
Need
get
to boost him
all
grades.
A's the rest of
Right.
the year.
So then they call in a tutor. They get like this, and this tutor's fun. Like the first meeting she has, is like, I think I need to tell you something. I need to make you aware of it. I'm a registered Democrat. It's like, okay.
And he goes, who would know that we had a Democrat before we knew a Democrat before something else?
No, who would have guessed that we would have had a black son before we knew a
Oh.
Democrat?
It's good.
Yeah, before we hired a Democrat or something like that.
Yeah.
Goodness.
And then it's actually kind of a fun little montage of him like getting better grades and like learning stuff like that.
Yeah, he's studying and doing better.
And then you mentioned a good cut when he's like doing stuff with football and stuff like that too. There's a cut where the doorbell rings and then it cuts to Michael like hitting somebody on the practice
It's
field.
him hitting a guy in a game.
Oh,
The
and
guy
then it
falls
cuts-
to the ground
yeah.
and then it goes to the doorbell. Like he knocked his lights out or whatever.
It's a pretty good cut.
He rang his bell. That's what I said.
And then like one of the final days of like that what I guess education montage, I guess. They talk about this I think they called it the Death Valley poem.
Well, okay, so he needed an A on the final assignment
Right, and
for
it
his
was a writing like
writing
English or
class.
something like that. Yeah.
The teacher was not helping him at all.
Right.
Everybody else was really looking for him. They were cheering him on, but this one teacher was just not.
Well,
really-
I mean, he says I'm not going to give him a grade he doesn't deserve, which
Right.
fair enough.
This is right, but this guy's trying to get to college. Help him.
So give him a free pass. Yeah.
Well, But so he had to get a good grade on this final assignment for this English class, and he didn't know what to write about. So then they talked about the Death Valley.
And it's basically just like a poem of these guys in the army who know that their like commander made a mistake and is leading them into a trap, and they know they're all going to die. So why do it? Well, you do it because, you go down fighting, you go down trying, and it's even if you know you're going to fail, you still try anyway because hey, you could win. And then
Ole Miss comes.
Yeah.
Then Ole Miss comes into play, and the mom, well, the family itself, but really the mom hates Tennessee.
Right.
Like they just hate him
Michael
so much.
wants to go. Michael kind of wanted to go to
Well,
Tennessee.
yeah. So Tennessee offered some really good deals for him, and SJ as well. They all gave him deals, but there were certain people.
Yeah,
now they
SJ
didn't pay him off. They didn't pay Ole Miss, but they are technically boosters
Right.
for the school.
They give them money.
Yeah, they give a lot of money to Ole Miss, and then so Ole Miss is like, okay, we want him, we'll take him, and Leanne is like, no, like you're gonna you give him anything he wants, you take him.
Yeah.
But nothing illegal was ever really done.
It just kind
definitely
of
steered him.
it looks bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it looks bad.
It seemed like they steered him towards Ole Miss,
Yeah.
but
Well-
it's all up to Michael in the end.
yeah.
So, but Art
SJ.
SJ, thank you guys. SJ really gets like the best deal out of
Oh yeah.
all of it. So every time that a recruiter came to his house, SJ and him both went and sat down, and SJ goes, "So what's in it for me?"
And these are like big name college coaches. And they give him like, you can run out on the field with the team, you can do the coin flip, you can be on the field during the game, and yada yada
It's
yada.
like, well, Tennessee gave me this much.
Yeah.
What do you have to top that?
Right.
What's
And
funny?
he does.
What's funny is Michael don't even care. Like,
Right.
He's just like,
Michael's just there.
I'm glad to be here. And SJ's the one actually doing like negotiating. Michael's like, I get to play? Yes. Cool. And then they go to SJ.
Right. Yeah, but eventually, obviously, he goes to Ole Miss, but some people start to.
It's the NCAA.
Before he could go to Ole Miss, the NCAA
had to do a little
did some
investigation.
investigation into his.
Which, yeah, looking from the outside in, it does look bad because it's this family that took him in. They're all Ole Miss people, and now he's going to Ole Miss. It's like, hey, what's going on? And they also give money to Ole Miss.
Even everybody who helped him,
Right.
even his tutor went to Ole Miss and is a booster at Ole Miss. So it just everything seemed really weird.
Yeah.
She also did try to scare
She
him.
did.
She did. She 100% did.
She was
with the
telling
zombies
him.
in Tennessee.
She was telling him, she's tutoring him, and she's like, I mean, Tennessee's great school. They got a great program. They got lots of good careers.
They got this really cool program where they do a lot of dead body research.
Yeah, she was like,
And you know when they're hiding the dead bodies, they put them underneath the football field.
yeah, and then they come out and grab you, and you're on the field, and it like scared Michael a little bit. So
Zombies
nothing
on the,
illegal, but
Zombies on the football field.
Zombies on the football field. That's pretty nuts. I'd be scared.
I'd be scared. But and it does give the rest of the characters something to reflect though on, because I think the mom says something like, "Did you ever ask him where he wanted to go?" Because I know I didn't.
Yeah.
No.
Well, he then
If he ever wanted to play football, like did he even want to do
And yeah, that too.
that was like the main gist.
But so he has this interview with this lady, and they're very leading questions.
Oh yeah.
They're like, I can't think of one of the questions, but it was like, so how long has it been since they've been pushing you to go to this school? And he's like, what do you mean? I don't understand.
he needed a lawyer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
With
it
him.
felt like he needed a lawyer there because it was such just,
Oh yeah.
you're the reason, you did this for this reason.
Right.
It was
They're
pushing
trying to
a agenda
push
upon
him. Yes.
So he stands up, walks out. What are you going to do, stop him?
Good luck.
And then he walks out to Leanne and goes, why'd you do it? Why did you take me in? Was it so that I could play at Ole Miss? And then he just walks off.
Yeah, he hits her with the line like, "Don't you dare lie to me!" Like,
Yeah.
she told him in the beginning. And I don't know. They sort of reconcile, and they sit Michael down and kind of talk to him about the football stuff. And he's like, "Do you even like football?" And he's like, "I'm good at it."
Well, yeah, and so basically, right after he told Luann, like, "Don't lie to me," he just walked off. He goes back to his place. I mean, around where he's kind of from, and right now, Michael, he's probably going through so many emotions, just like doesn't know what to think about anything. So he hangs out with this group of people, and
He was going to see his real mom.
Yep, but she moved away. So he goes and hangs out with these friends, or these old friends, and
Bad habits.
yeah, bad habits, and they're doing drugs and they're drinking, and there's a baby there. But basically things just go haywire because the guys just start bullying him, talking about how he's got this white sister, if he's tapped her, all that stuff. And Michael he
loses it.
he completely loses
He
it.
John Wicks everybody.
Yeah.
He really does.
punches
He
people.
takes a guy out, and then he has a gun put to his head, and he reaches behind his head, grabs the gun, puts it up in the air, and like that's as it shoots. It's
And he,
a
like,
really cool scene.
throws
but
a guy through like the barricade.
he throws it through a loft
Yeah.
into the baby's carriage.
And the baby falls out. And then like you hear the baby crying, and then Michael's like
He remembers
he's shutting down, and
all of the
I
the
think
trauma
that's
from his
also
childhood.
a good thing that kind of shows that he doesn't like to beat that person. He doesn't like to cause, violence and stuff like that. And so he gets out of there again.
Yeah, that's when he calls Leanne.
Mm-hmm.
He's back at the laundromat.
That's when she shows up the next morning.
Right. No, he leaves and calls her the next morning when he's at the laundromat.
Oh, right. And she goes and meets the old friends and says like, "Yeah, I got a gun too. So don't you worry about it. If you want to come at me, that's fine. I got a gun."
Yeah. That's right.
And then she meets him at the laundromat, and they kind of
Talk about everything.
They kind of reconcile, and
Well, and she asks him about his childhood, like, why
She finally asks him.
what happened?
And it was tough, real tough stuff. But in the end, he does on his own. He chooses Ole Miss.
It's for a really good reason.
Yeah, because it's family went there, man.
He goes back into the interview and she goes, well, why do you want to go to Ole Miss or like something like that? And
he was like, why have you asked me about my family?
You asked me all
why
these
didn't you
questions.
ask me why I wanted to go? And he was like, well, my family went there, and she doesn't have anything to say after that. So,
yep,
he gets to go.
He gets to go. And then I guess, if anybody who knows Michael Oher, the real person, obviously he goes to Ole Miss, and then after that he gets drafted by the Ravens.
Yes.
And then he finishes up his NFL career at the Carolina Panthers. So that's pretty darn good considering where he started off in life.
I mean, it doesn't show that in the movie. It doesn't show him going to the NFL.
Right.
But that
it shows it at the end and the credits.
Well, yeah, but those are real pictures.
Yeah.
But this whole story was based on a real, true guy who went to the NFL.
Wait, what?
No.
Yeah, dude, can you believe that? It's a real person.
Conspiracy.
Are you sure? Is he really real? I mean, have we done the math? I don't know.
So, and then there's kind of like a soundbite that we have for you guys. It does kind of encapsulate it's like a perfect ending, I guess I should say. Yeah, you can go ahead.
It is.
I read a story the other day about a boy from the projects. No daddy, in and out of foster care. He'd been killed in a gang fight at Hurt Village. In the last paragraph, they talked about his superb athletic skills and how different his life might have been if he hadn't fallen behind and dropped out of school. He was 21 years old the day he died. It was his birthday. I could have been anyone. It could have been my son, Michael. But it wasn't. And I suppose I have God to thank for that. God and Lawrence Taylor.
So it's basically it's kind of like a deal where this easily could have been Michael in that shooting, and it's super sad because you know that happens every day where these kids are gifted. It's just they don't have anybody to help them.
The one who was shot in the shooting was Michael's friend,
right?
Who throughout the whole show you see him and he said, why aren't you weren't you going to this this college? And he's like, well, the classes got hard, so I stopped.
Yeah.
And he said he got tired of people telling him what to do, even though he started working for
and then he goes
a drug lord or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like a deal where there's tons of people that just need a little push. They can do great things if they need a little push, and it didn't happen, unfortunately, for this kid. And it's tough because it could have been Michael, and all he needed was, what Michael got was education and, a really good family, and that in a way saved him.
Right. And during the movie, we forgot to mention, but they go out to dinner, and Michael actually sees somebody that he knows. He shakes his hand in the restaurant. He gives him a hug. And he walks out, and Leanne's like, who was that? Who were you hugging? And he was like, that was my brother. I haven't seen him since I was a little kid. And he doesn't know when the next time he'll see him either.
Yeah.
Which is really sad because his brother has got a job.
It's legit his
like
blood brother.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that he got taken away from with his mom as well.
What boggled me was in that scene, if he loved his brother that much where he's shocked to see him and gave him a hug, why didn't he get his contact info? Why didn't he figure out where he was living?
It was a very, very quick scene. It just happened and it was done. He saw his brother and that was it. Never mentioned it again in the movie.
That's how he is.
Yeah.
That's his brother, but he didn't grow up with him.
Right. He might not even, he might know he's his brother, but he might not really know him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's a busboy at a restaurant.
But no, I remember watching this a while ago, and it's super sad just because of how real it is. But it's overall a very like well made film. All the actors, do fairly solid. Even if the lines are, for the most part, kind of fairly generic, and it's probably because of the rating itself. It has to be fairly, like for the most part, family friendly and generic, and yada yada. But yeah, Sandra Bullock, I think, does a really good job in particular. But it's kind of a deal where it's kind of tough because it's like it's nothing. It's a really cool story. Like the story itself is amazing. But the movie, I'd say it's like nothing, like mind-blowingly shocking. The film itself, the story is really cool and it carries it a long way. But overall, I would have to, I guess I'll 8 out of 10 for the most part is what I'll give it.
For the most part, what would you give the rest of it? For the most part, it's an 8 out of 10. But
the other part, I would give a 2 out of 10.
Oh,
Ooh.
Duh.
What does that average out to? 6?
It's like a 6.
I really like this movie a lot. Just all the emotions, yet it still has some good comedy parts in it. And it is like, it's a true representation of actually what goes on in a lot of parts of America at least. Just the poverty and how there are so many special kids out there who have so much potential, but they just don't have anything. They don't have anybody to go to.
I mean, Leanne even says, she's like, I grew up in this town and I've never been this far over.
Yeah.
She didn't even
Never
know
been
that
on
all
that
that
side.
stuff was there.
I love this movie, so I'm going to go ahead and rate it a 9 out of 10.
That's high.
I like the movie. I thought it was good. I've seen it multiple times. It's good every time. It doesn't like lose any like interest every time I watch it. It still keeps me watching the whole time too.
Yes, definitely.
I don't know. I'm thinking maybe a 7.5. 7.5. It was good, and it wasn't like pow amazing because like it was a good movie. But
I also love Sandra Bullock. I love her.
Oh, Tim McGraw was pretty good in this movie. He had a lot of good like one-liners, like the whole thing when she first gets Michael to come home with him. Because
I didn't really have a choice.
And he goes, "I've seen that look before. She's about to get what she wants."
I also like the one where Nick Saban shows up and Sandra Bullock goes, "He's a very handsome man." He's like, "I'm standing right here, hon."
No. He said, "I was thinking that too."
No, he said, I'm standing right
I'm
here.
standing
He
here,
did?
hon.
I thought he said, "I'm thinking that too."
There's also a scene where she's like, maybe we should adopt him. And he goes, well, I'll think about it. And she goes, at least think about it. He goes, all right. He goes, all right, we're getting him, or all right, you'll think about it. He goes, is there really a difference?
Yeah.
No, yeah, it's good. Funny rom-com.
I'd have to say, I don't know. It's a very good movie. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the movie, period. I could watch it multiple times, so that automatically bumps it up on the ratings. It's just such a classic, honest. I've seen it so long ago that it's like part of my childhood growing up. So I'd have to give it like a 7.5 or an 8. So like
It's a part of your childhood.
7.75. Yes.
It's a part of your childhood, but not a 9.
No.
How? How can it be a part of your childhood? So important.
You ever seen Robots?
Yes.
Yes, I have.
That's like a 9.
That is like that and Shark Tales.
We gotta watch them.
Shark Tales is good.
But yeah, I think we all enjoyed it. We all definitely recommend it if you can find it somehow. But for any other questions, recommendations, email silverscreenpod@gmail.com. And thank you guys for listening. What did you want to say?